So, äh, 3, 4 und 2, 6. Kurz nochmal hier reinschauen. Also 1, 2. Okay. Meint 150. Pilze für 80. Okay, ich kann auch Shipment kaufen für 300. Okay, brauche ich Interface-Zeug. Midline security. Stealing shipments from Midline is going to be picked up fast, even if you're careful. Their systems can't be fooled for long. Okay. Send to hub. Ooh. Oh, okay. The hub. Spaces socializing. The hub is thronging with spaces from across the surrogate systems. They can be a prickly bunch, but they know the place well. X manifests. Stacked base house a flow of incoming and outgoing ships. The digital manifests will help you get your head around this place. Weightless Wanderer. Up here there's no gravity, so even just moving around takes a while to get used to, let alone navigating the base. Okay. Nope, 4. 6. 5. Okay. Notice barely visible, just an access key left on some long forgotten desk in a sealed Solheim office. Notice connected to a remote array, and it buzzes as it picks up the drive signatures of passing ships. Clouds. A glint like a light traveling along the edge of a wave fills your eyes. Killer. Ooh. blinded erasure protocol. Then the blade follows a long head with 2 dead sockets slipping towards you in silence. You freeze, hoping it will pass you by, hoping that it will not simply slice through you like air. The blade head nears, slides past you, almost. It nicks you, grazes you. You're desperate to cry out, to call out, but you hold your silence and simply watch the blind eyes of the killer glide past, empty of all thought. Then the blade winks into the dark and you are alone again. Now you cry out. Okay. Ja, trinken wir mal. Okay. Mm. Glass shatters on the steel bar beside you, and the taunts don't take long to follow. They aren't. Spacer calls out the long room. What are you doing here? He laughs at his own lame joke. Playing human? Ignore. You hunch a little further, staring at the hundreds of tiny impact points that scar the bar's surface. A hand falls on your shoulder, but as you flinch away, it pats reassuringly. You freeze in place. Ouch! The voice comes from behind you, spat out like a shot. You turn to see bright eyes, dark hair, stare that could breach the wall and vent you all into hard vacuum. As you turn back to the spacer, the second glass comes sailing through the air. Catch! You reach up a hand and the glass shatters across your forearm, showering you in fragments. Through the haze of glass and jarrole vapor, you see Tala leap the bar and close the distance to the spacer. The thud as he slams into the wall echoes around the bar like thunder. Now flanked by other figures, quick to the feet, Tala throws the spacer out through the door and stands silhouetted against the rotunda lights. You touch your arm and it feels wet. Someone helps you to your feet and back onto your stool. Broken glass rattles as it is cleared, and a fresh measure of jarrole is glugged out in front of you. The same hand, warm, heavy, falls on your shoulder once more. He isn't coming back. You don't tolerate that kind of shit here. Tala flops onto the stool beside you. Let's get a look at you. Tala wipes the powdered glass from around the wound, and someone places a bottle of alcohol and a metal tin with tweezers on the bar. She disinfects them and then turns to you. That was an ambitious catch. She smiles, pulling a sliver of glass from your forearm. Stupid, but ambitious. You don't feel the pain, only the sting of status messages your body delivers concerning dermal damage and exposed structures. You do feel the care, though, as Tala's bright eyes search your thick, synthetic skin for splinters. Watch her. Tala works with the skill of someone who has had to pick glass splinters from the skin of a stranger before. She hones in on each bright shard all the time, tapping the tweezer tips in little rhythms that only she can follow. Tala smiles to herself. So, you've been on the eye long? Just arrived. I thought so. I've only seen you here a couple of times. A splinter clinks into the tin. Not everyone is like that, idiot. We don't all hate you. She glances around. Some of the regulars, maybe they fear you. Maybe they're just curious. I don't know. But I do know that the Overlook is a safe place. I know what it's like to be new in this place. Trust me. She meets your eye. I'm not trying to convince you of anything or separate you from your chits. I just want you to know that if you need somewhere, you can always come here. I know the rations we've got aren't much and the company is, she leans in, limited, but if you need work, I'll happily put you behind the bar, and if you need shelter, well, we can discuss that. You'll be safe. I usually have Francis on the door, but he's up in the Greenway this cycle, haggling with our supplier. Francis tends to be particular about what we serve, even if the clientele isn't. She places the tweezers in the tin with a clink. That's you, sleeper. Here. She slides the glass of jarrole to you. This'll help. She stops her hand, still on the glass. Wait, does this help? I mean, can you get drunk? Let's find out. She laughs. Just don't sit here too long. I'd hate to see you become a real regular. She walks back around the bar, gathering the glasses as she does, and before long is retelling how she threw that spacer out to a new group that just wandered in, complete with dramatic actions. She gestures in your direction and you instinctively look away, back to the worn surface of the bar. You take a sip of the jarrole. The earthy fungal tones fill your senses, almost blocking out sight and sound, like diving headfirst into a bog. You may not be able to get drunk, but this connection to something grown, something fermented, something old, feels good. Okay. Barshift. Bisschen Geld. -1 durch. Barshift. Toll is as good as a word, and happy to throw a shift or two your way. Pay isn't great, but tips can make all the difference. Good service, overlook clientele can be a tough crowd, but you have Tala's backing, and that means a lot. Okay. Okay, das dauert noch, bis das wieder da ist. Wie viel hat das andere Zeug gekostet? 150. Okay. Ja, verdienen wir mal ein bisschen Geld. Und schauen, dass wir hier vielleicht Dings in die Lotterie kommen. Nice. Okay. So, Hunted zu Ende. Ah, eine 1, nice. Ethan, cynical bounty hunter. Oh. Hold it there, sleeper. Comes a voice from behind you. Don't you run. Stay still. Good, good. Hand pats your coat down. Know your master's voice. Ethan spins you around. He's wearing a white smirk and a slick jacket, and you immediately know he's terrible news. You get all the way out here and then stay put. He laughs a cruel laugh. That's a sleeper thing. You're my first. That a sleeper thing? You barely hear him. You've noticed the handgun he has leveled at your chest, and it's hard to take your eyes off it. He reaches down with his other hand and slips some kind of ring out from a belt loop without taking his eyes off you. Making it to the eye, though, that's pretty good. This place isn't so bad. Bars, markets, people. I pull most of my contracts out of asteroid caves or off godforsaken moons. He splits the ring into 2 perfect cycles. It's hard to hit civilization when there's so much space to pass through. Who are you? Just a freelance on a contract. He reaches over to slide the rings around your wrists. Go easy. Okay. Home up. You see a chance the moment his eyes leave you to watch the rings. You spin, knocking him away and sprinting down the corridor. Then a shot rings out, echoing off the metal so loud it hurts your ears. A bullet hole smokes in the wall beside your head. You freeze and Ethan closes the gap. Yeah, this is a very boring routine, trust me. I've seen it all before. Slips the rings over your trembling wrists. Ethan nudges you to start walking. To the ship and home. He whistles. Going easy. You stumble down the corridor, your hands behind you, your mind racing. Who hired you? Your daddy's at Esnarp. They want you home for dinner. Ethan yawns and continues to nudge you down the corridor. Shame to come all the way out here just to head back to Esnarp right away. The tracker of yours makes this too quick. I was hoping you'd put up a bit more of a chase, you know. Running battle through the bright market maybe, or hold out in the low end. There's a few establishments I would have enjoyed checking out, but I asked around. You walk on in silence for a little longer, desperately trying to think of a way to escape. That SM tracker will be the death of you. Hey, I have an idea. Ethan interrupts your thoughts. About on the way back to the ship, we stop for a drink. I'm buying. He laughs at his own joke. I have a better idea. It's better not be one of those where you do a dramatic pause and then try to jump me, because I'm pretty tired of that. Although, muses Ethan, I've got myself thinking. What's the rush here? Here we are in one of the most lawless joints in the surrogate systems, and we're heading for the exit. He pauses and you trudge on in silence. Okay, here's the idea, starts Ethan. You and me, we make a little agreement. Here are the terms. He turns you to face him. You run, or leave, or try to abandon the eye, I shoot you. You plot or scheme, you try to kill me, I shoot you. But he smiles. You come meet me at an establishment of my choice every few cycles, then you pay my tab. I don't shoot you. He pauses. You don't pay my tab. He rattles his handgun. You get the idea. I get it. Okay then. It sounds to me like a deal. He stretches. You know, I really thought I was going to have to kill you, but this is so much better. You click something at his belt, and the rings release from your wrists. I'm going to see if I can find my old stool at the compressor club. Come see me there. He aims the handgun at you, squinting down the sight. Let me just remind you, that body of yours is one big tracker, so don't even think about leaving the eye. I'll know. Ethan turns and strides off down the corridor, slipping his handgun away. A mix of relief and terror you feel is overwhelming. What are you going to do? Maybe if you manage to pay his tab, Ethan will leave you alone. Wishful thinking, perhaps, but what else can you do? Okay. You see Ethan at a distance shooting from the bar for more drinks, shouting. This bill isn't going to be small, is it? Okay. So, 1. Was für Dinge hat der gebraucht? Solheim data. Notice leaking corrupted contractor lists from the early days of the system's Palladium's rush. Good. As you enter the bay, Feng is nowhere to be seen. The banks of servers and machines blink out of the dark in staccato rhythms, unseeing eyes of the station's digital ghosts. Shitheads! Feng's voice echoes from behind a stack, followed by the hammer of a fist on a metal casing. You snaky shitheads. Who's snaky? Sleeper. Feng's smiling head pops out from behind a stack. Jesse emulated consciousness I've been eager to see. Come back here. You pick your way between the thrumming stacks, trying not to trip on the loose bundles of cables that blanket the dark floor. Feng is set in front of a set of monitors mounted to a stack. Tell me, Sleeper, what do you see here? Feng waves at a monitor to his side, glowing with pale lists of information. You lean in closer, looking for the links in the data. The tables seem to be filled with personal information, names, genders, dates, ID numbers, all the markers of institutional records. Shitheads? Feng laughs. Maybe not all of them, but what kind of shitheads? Solheim? Bingo! He taps at the terminal. I pulled these from the old data you brought in, all employees of the Eye's original owners, and... He leans past you and scrolls the list down. This one. This is a snake shithead. He steps at the screen with a finger. The name reads Hardin Hurst. Who's Hardin? That, says Feng, giving you a sideways look, is the thing. He drags a stool out beside him and motions for you to sit. There just so happens to be a Hardinhurst in Havenage. He waits for your reaction. In Havenage? That's it. He's right here on the station, now. Feng leans back in his chair. Just think about it. Decades ago, Hardin worked on the station as a... Feng leans across to look at the monitor. Senior Strategic Operations Executive. Feng raises his eyebrows at you. Our Hardin was giving the money coming in for Solheim. He defined priority growth initiatives by making sure the extractors they contracted out to where... By making sure the extractors they contracted out to were hooked into a system that outsourced all the risks and kept the profit. Good old Hardin shuttled thousands of Palladium Rush workers into an infrastructure which meant that their cut of the work they did went straight back into Solheim. How do you know this? I grew up here, Sleeper. This is my history. I am a child of the collapse. Feng turns back to his screen, staring hard at the strings of code flickering by. Before I was born, my parents were Solheim contractors. They ate in Solheim canteens, worked on Solheim ships. They breathed Solheim air and slept in Solheim beds. Feng's voice rises as he speaks, his hands fists on the terminal edge. And the work that paid for their existence, the cycles of hard extraction out in the belt, Solheim took their cut. This was a company town, so to speak, and my parents were just another in the long line of freelance contractors willing to risk their lives for a shot at anything other than poverty. Disposable. This guy, stabbing at Hardin once again with his finger, strategized all that, did the sums, and then somehow thousands and thousands of cycles later, still going, still here, crawling in the walls like some shithead snake. He survived the revolution. But how? These guys, they were big time. There's a lot of money. There's a lot of money can get you if you are a company man. Thing relaxes a little. But how is Harden still kicking? I really don't know. He turns to you and smiles. So we are going to go find out. Harden is now a big shot in the shipyards, just a few degrees back around the eye from here. Feng brings up a map of the lower eye. Event might be born out of Erland's revolutionary zeal, but a flat hierarchy it is not. Harden happened to float to the top. Feng zooms in on the far yards. Feng grimaces. The thing is, I don't have access to those systems. The shipyard crew is pretty paranoid, and they don't like anyone from systems digging around in their stuff. Plus, we need more than just the name of a solemn executive. We need proof. Feng holds up a thumbnail-sized drive. That's where this little creation of mine comes in. I call it a ripper worm. He turns the drive between his fingers. It'll rip through any digital storage and spin out a silken thread of filtered data. This one is set on the scent of Hardenhurst. He hands it over. Getting into the compound might be tricky. Feng puts a hand on your shoulder. But you, however, have a particular knack for remote access. Feng grins. If you can extract yourself a Havenage cipher from a Havenage agent, they sometimes carry them among their data caches. You can crack open the compound's network and slot the worm in through any open port. You never even need to go near the shipyards. So, what do you say? Up for it? What's in it for me? Rooting out a corrupt snake not enough? Find the information and I'll start work on that tracker of yours. Feng scratches at his chin. Anything the worm gets, it'll send it back here to me. There's something wrong here and I aim to get to the rotten core of it. You leave Feng digging through data among the wires and machines of the old station. As you walk out, you try to imagine the eye as it once was. A vast machine running smooth and strong, directed by people like Harden. A vast Solheim-built machine into which thousands poured from the surrogate systems looking for a new life. The hope of a better future, engineered to line someone else's pockets. It's an idea you are intimately familiar with. You think of Harden, still alive, still part of this place, and wonder if the past is ever truly past. Okay. Ich hatte doch schon mal... Ach. Die kann ich nicht mehr. Okay. Was war da oben noch mal? Ach ja. So, ich... Wie viel? 4 Tage. Okay. Das ist... Na gut. So, well as mate, you have a spot supporting the Welsh team. Good place to prove you know how to put a ship together. Each shift, a crowd of would-be workers gathers outside the shipyard, each of them clinging to a 4-digit number printed on receipt paper. These are their assignment numbers, and you are either called for a shift or you aren't. As you arrive, the crowd is restless and chatter rumbles through the lines. For those who, like you, have graduated to the work teams, shifts are guaranteed. Having just walked out of a meeting with a supervisor where you were praised for your efforts, you feel the glow of a job well done. Yet you can't help but feel empathy for those huddled as you pass, waiting for their number to come up. You keep your head down as you leave the shipyard, feeling a little guilty as you do. Hey, sleeper, wait up. Lem's voice trembles as he shouts above the rumble of the crowd, and you turn to see him pushing through. Mina crying in his arms. What? Lem. Good to see you, friend. He's breathing hard after shouldering through the waiting workers. You made the work team. Good for you. He tries to catch his breath, stroking Mina's hair as he does. Shh, baby. Give me a second here. He smiles weakly at you as he comforts her, and her cries start to fade. Out of the crowd, he sets Mina down by his side. Shiny streaks down both of her cheeks. As he does, you see he is clutching an assignment number on a crumpled piece of paper. Is Mina okay? She's good. We just had a rush up here. He puts his hand on her shoulder and she clings to his side. Esther, who usually takes her sick, he stretches. Noise sounds from the entrance, a klaxon, followed by a list of numbers growing brightly on a display screen. The crowd responds instantly, pushing and pulling as people try to wade to the entry checkpoint. Lem stops and turns back towards the crowd, then glances down at the crumpled paper. That's my number. Shit. Mina. He starts patting the pockets on his gear and glancing around. Go, I'll watch her. He blinks a little, staring. Thank you. He crutches to Mina. You're gonna stay with our friend here, okay? They're trying to keep you safe and... He stands back up. Here, take her bag. He shoves it into your hands. She's got food, Shit, I have to go. He backs away into the crowd. Mina, I'll be back real soon, okay? Be good. Then Lem disappears into the roiling crowd, who are now trying to get into the shipyard before it locks down. Mina stands, staring, suddenly small without Lem at her side. She fixes you with a dark-eyed look you can't quite read. Hey, Mina. She holds the stare, unmoving. The two parallel tear tracks still glint on her cheeks. You okay, Mina? She sniffs and looks down. Look in the bag. You unlatch the top of the bag and see a few metal containers fashioned from scrap components. A battered slate sits on top, blinking a low battery warning. And tucked beside it is a ragged rabbit, hand-sewn. Take the rabbit. You pull the rabbit out of the bag, its long limbs waggling as you do. Mina goes to jump and grab it, but holds herself back. She stands and hugs herself, eyes on the rabbit. What's their name? Mina turns away and looks at the entrance to the shipyard. This isn't going well. Give her the rabbit. You hold the rabbit out and Mina snatches it from your hand. She hugs it tightly without looking away from you. Bun Bun, she says, staring you down, ferocious despite her size. Nice name. You move a little closer as you speak, closing the gap. She looks at you suspiciously, but her face softens a little. She waggles Bun Bun in front of you and then walks him up your arm and onto your shoulder where he sits. She pokes your arm a couple of times. Are you really a robot? Sort of. Yeah, she thinks. Me too. Mina has more questions. Lots of questions. Questions about how you breathe or if you rust. But before long, you're talking about rabbits and what Esther, the lady who usually takes her, smells like, and whether or not fairies live in the ice heating pipes. You pass the time like this, sitting side by side on the floor of the walkway as others pass by, sometimes talking, sometimes drawing on the slate, sometimes playing with Bun Bun, the rabbit. And this is how Lem finds you, just as both of you are starting to yawn. He's dirty and tired, but Mina leaps up his legs and into his arms as he stumbles backwards. You two get on okay? He asks, trying to keep Mina from climbing onto his shoulders. More than okay. Mina shoots you a smile from Lem's arms. Her suspicion gone. Well. Looks like Meanie can be nice. He pokes her in the ribs, and she squeals in delight. Thank you, friend. I mean it. He gives a warm, white smile. I owe you. Look. He glances around. It seems like Esther, the lady who usually watches her, is going to be out for a spell. If you ever have some time, I'd really appreciate you coming down to our place in the low end. He grins sheepishly. If you have time, yeah. But now I have to take this one to eat. He plays a biting Mina and... He plays at biting Mina. And she giggles in response. See you, sleeper. He waves, and they stumble off down the corridor, drawing gazes from passing spaces, as Mina's laughter echoes down the corridor in bright squeals. Nice. Fuck. Sidereal Horizon vast colony ship is coming together block by block. Each cycle you see another piece slot in place. Sidereal Assembly, you have been promoted to the assembly team working on the hull itself, welding the fabricated blocks of the ship into place. Vast job. Vierundzwanzig, glaube ich. Babysit Mina. Take it out. Okay. Lem can't work shifts in the shipyard unless someone watches Mina. You two seem to get along last time, and Lem is desperate. Save. Das ist schon mal schön. Unless Lem gets time in the shipyard, he won't qualify for the side real crew lottery. Watching Mina gives him that chance. Okay. So. Haben wir irgendwas Gefährliches oder risky? Akira needs all the help she can get with the MGGLP market with damage the hardest. A good place to start. Okay, a random scrap item, nice. Wir waren das 12. Okay. Ja, okay, wenigstens noch 5. That was part of Solheim ship's internal system welded to the hub as a makeshift dwelling. Okay, encrypted key Zeug. Ah. Okay, cool. Coole Sache. So. Was konnte ich mit diesen Encrypted Key Dingern nochmal machen? Unlock the station's aging maglogs. Okay. Essen brauchen wir auf jeden Fall. Aber bei dem... Die Pilze... this is... Okay. Good. Okay. Fangen wir da bei dem Nest-Dingern mal an. Das Nest ist a tangle of algorithms recursively generating possible Solheim communication codes. A glimmer in the dark catches your eye as the orb of Hunter's head appears in the distance. It is looking for you. Hide. You slip down into the ghostly structures of the eye, a feeling like passing through a cloud as the data structures deform and reform around you. Another glimmer catches your eye, closer now. That roving orb, wreathed in tentacles. It flickers, jumps once, twice, and then it is here. Hunter is here. Entity, submit to inquiry. Hunter reaches for you in that unpleasantly familiar way. It's waving threats, creating a cage. Struggle. You push against the threats as they close in, becoming frenzied as you push them aside. You're caught by whipping tendrils and feel them pulling you away from the anchor of your body. You push through, clearing the threats. Entity, hold for processing. Comes the scream from behind, but you're already gliding away, back to your anchor, your body. You're awake, dizzy, distorted, but safe. Okay. Ich glaube, beim nächsten Schlafen gehen nehme ich mal den Stabilizer. Wie viel kosten die dann? 100. Okay. Wo ist denn? Waren nochmal. Steht aber doch. War nicht hier. Nein. The data. Zack. Okay, das war nur, ja, war nur das, okay. Gut. Okay. Wieder keine 2. Okay. Benutzen wir mal die 6er für... Ja. Nice. So, Bam. Akita is crouched in the computing core of the MGGLP, swearing to herself when you enter. He doesn't look up. This shit's completely ruined the core's connectors when they cut it. She holds up a thick fistful of ragged wires. The ship mind they ripped from won't even be usable without replacing these. She throws the bundle of wires across the room. Amateurs. Can we repair it? There's nothing to repair. We need an entire ship mind. Not exactly the first thing you can expect to dredge up from a scrap freighter. She sighs. Fragments, maybe. The sections of a mind, but a complete ship mind? No way. The kid climbs out of the cooling well where the ship mind should be. The space suddenly crowded with her on the same level as you. Towering over you as she stoops beneath the low curved ceiling. Come on, nothing to be nothing to be done here now. She leads you back through the guts of amber. Though you could find the way back yourself. The repair process has left you familiar with the cutter's idiosyncratic layout. All diagonal angles and bundled tubes. What do we do now? Nikita seems lost in thought, and you focus on the corridors, ducking below conduits and passing through bulkheads. Eventually you arrive in the galley. Though it's hard to tell, most of the benches and prep surfaces are covered in half-stripped components and welded hull patches. Ankita shoves a box of filters to the floor and sits. There's no way around it. She starts out of nowhere. We need a new ship mind. Where from? Scrap freighter, odd exchange. Help find one in the overlook bathroom. Doesn't matter where, just matters that we get one. She rubs her forehead. It seems I'm about to do something very stupid, but hey, I came here, didn't I? Why not make a run of it? She fixes you with a hard stare. Sleeper, you're all I've got. No crew, no friends. You're it. She looks uncomfortable. I appreciate the time you've put in on Amber, and I'm sure she would too, if she could. What I'm saying is, if you screw me on this, I will kill you. She leans over and hands you a stack of chits. Ooh, a big stack of chits. They don't dare to count them. Get me that chip mine, Sleeper. Don't make me regret this. Won't. She sighs. Look, just get out of here before I change my mind. They slip out of the galley and head back towards the main lock. As they do, Amber growls and creaks like a caged animal. You reach a hand out to calm her. Time to find Ankita shipmind, somehow. Wie viel? 300. Okay, bisschen Geld. Ich würde ganz gern das Zollzeug da oben bezahlen, aber ich bin ein bisschen vorsichtig noch, bevor ich nicht weiß, wie teuer das wird von dem Typen. Warten wir da noch drauf. Geh mal babysitten. Oh, ich krieg Energy dafür. Cool. Okay. Ah, ne. Falsches Ding. Wo wohne ich? Da. So, hoffentlich kriegen wir jetzt auch mal wieder Part 2. Wäre sehr schön. Dann halt nicht. So, wie teuer wird's? 58. Ja. Geht. How can someone drink this much in 6 cycles? Ethan hasn't held back while he has been at the compressor. You have 2 cycles to pay the tab. He calls it being fair-minded. Okay. Bitteschön. As they hand over the chits, you hear Ethan laughing hysterically somewhere down the bar. I can't believe you just did that. Ethan's mocking laugh comes from along the bar. You look over to see him leaning across it in a pool of light. Empty glasses and spilled drinks glinting around him. It's always dark in the compressor, but this cycle, the place is packed, a lot of spacers mixing with the locals. Usually they run. Ethan spins a glass on the bar, or they go spend their savings on some local heavy I have to put down. They don't pay. I'm done. Wrong. Not even close. Ethan gets to his feet. The glass falls and smashes, but he doesn't seem to notice. You think that's it? 1 round of drinks and we are even? Sleeper, come on. His hand comes to rest on the butt of his handgun, dangling from a chest holster. What's wrong with you? Ethan lost heart, and the people around him turn to see what's happening. You think this is on me? I think someone in your position might have a better idea of how this all works. I'm a freelancer, sleeper, just like you. We both signed a contract with S&Up, didn't we? The difference is that my word means something. He closes the gap, stumbling a little. What did you think? You could just run away from your contract, your debt? You could just steal that natty little body of yours and take it for a joyride? Play human for a cycle or two? You don't understand. It's you, sleeper, that doesn't understand. Some of us pay our debts, but it's all the harder because of idiots like you. Oh, I should thank you. Ethan nods, his head heavy, for giving me such an easy job. I'm used to all outlaws, you know, real bounties. If I knew catching sad little escapees like you was so easy, I would have changed clients ages ago. Someone shouts from the back of the bar for Ethan to shut up. He holds up a finger in that general direction, without turning around. Stay silent. Nothing to add? Ethan turns and walks back towards the bar. Good. Lesson learned. Ethan sits heavily back down on his stool and searches through his glasses for one with something left in it. The thing is, sleeper, I can find you anywhere. It's actually wild that you haven't figured it out. That body isn't yours, then it will always betray you. No matter what. He finds a glass and downs the contents. So, please, go. I'll catch up with you whenever I need another. He laughs and tips the bar for a fresh drink. Look at yourself. Give it up, sleeper. I'm done teaching you for today. He settles his head on the bar and closes his eyes. I'm sick of you. Go find a job. You turn on your heel and are out of the cloying dark and the sweat stench of the compressor. You walk hard and fast down the walkway, anger driving your footfalls into the metal of the rim like hammers. Upgrade point. Yeah. Ach nee, Part 2. Okay. Okay, wieder 4 Tage. Wäre eigentlich fast intelligenter gewesen, hätte ich noch einen Tag gewartet oder so. Okay. Every tattooed spacer takes your chits and tells you to prepare. She'll be waiting at the edge for your arrival. Greenway. As you step out into the passageway, someone barrels into you from behind, sending you stumbling down the corridor. You turn to see an unfamiliar spacer, laden with heavy gear. She steadies herself, staring you down as if daring you to respond. Ash, stubborn XPR spacer. Stay silent. She adjusts a strap on her shoulder, barely giving you a second look before setting off down the corridor. I'm sorry for her. The second spacer smiles at you apologetically. She's on a mission, and when she's on a mission, they shrug. Not a problem. They smile. You're sweet. Peek. Ash stands further down the corridor, glowering at her friend. She chops at the air, pointing down the corridor to whatever end she is rushing to. Peek raises their eyebrows at you. Ash, please. Do you want everyone on this station to hate us? Ash hardens. They want to hate us. They can hate us. Stimme. They want to hate us. They can hate us. She drops a hip. I'm not exactly seeing much love as it is. We're lucky we got through before they set up the damn cordon. Cordon? Peek gestures in your direction. See, they don't even know what you're talking about. The station isn't Hawthorne. Not everyone has to follow some corporate protocol. Ash sighs. I'm not saying they are part of the administration. She jerks her head in your direction. But I'm saying we need to get these supplies to the Briar before someone starts asking questions. Can I help? Peek smiles slyly. See, Ash, help isn't that exactly what... help. Isn't that exactly what we need right now? Peek. Ash rolls eyes. Peek ignores her. We are with the refugees, the ones Havenage have cordoned off from entering the station. Ash interrupts. The ones that are being quarantined in makeshift vessels that barely made it to the eye to begin with. The ones that your station administrators have called an existential risk and are running out of supplies, while the right to safety is being debated by people with no stake in their future. She quickly looks away, annoyed at her own outburst. Peek sighs. She's right. People are trapped out there and... They turn to Ash. We understand that this is a big problem for the Eye. Hundreds of refugees and more ships turning up each cycle. They hold up a hand to stop Ash interrupting. But... Ash turns away. Her burning anger, a palpable force in the close quarters of the corridor. They need supplies, and after everything they've been through, the quarantine isn't helping. Peek finishes. That's terrible. Ash looks back at you, her fierceness fading. Peek, please. Ash gathers herself and the supplies. Ash, we need help. Just like the refugees need us, we need others too. They smile at her. Peek turns to you. Come find us. The climbing briar is docked at the broken spoke. Past the greenway in the wastes. We have a good view of the cordon, though we are keeping our distance for now. Come, help us. They squeeze your hand. Ash turns to leave, and Peek follows, waving goodbye. A moment later, Ash shouts back down the corridor. Don't bother coming empty-handed. You want to help? Show us. Bring supplies, or don't come at all. And with that, they disappear around the corner, Ash already picking up speed as Peek calls for her to slow down. A refugee flotilla. Where are they coming from? And why now? Each time you think, you begin to understand this place. Something changes. Okay. Greenway. Map the pathways rather than simply thrash through the undergrowth. Might sketch a map of this overgrown jungle to try to better navigate its hazards. Walk the greenway. Simplest way to explore the greenway is simply to pick a path and set off into its twisting chambers and passages. This carries obvious risks. Okay. Und das da unten going green. Exploring the greenway is unlike any other place on the eye. Its overgrown chambers defy mapping. A hyper commune? Self-sustaining community. Work the canteen. Newcomers to the commune can work within the canteen, preparing and serving food for those that make the compound their home. Work the grow beds. Grow beds are at the heart of the commune, feeding the members and fueling the lab work. You're invited to assist in maintaining them. If I remember, the only way to become part of the commune is to work your way in through long service. It isn't for everyone. Wastes. Scrap components. Out here, at the edge of the habitable parts of the eye, everything is scrap. The trick is finding components that are still usable and staying safe. Okay. Climbing briar. Oh, what? Welcome to episode Flux. It's the first of 3 episodic updates to Citizen Sleeper, telling the story of the refugee flotilla which has arrived at the Eye. Completing the action above will begin that story, but be aware that it is intended for late gameplay. Okay. Supply jar rolls. Ash asked you to bring the supplies, and fragrant eye-grown gyrowl caps seem like the perfect thing to impress her. Okay. Okay. Haben wir hier Sachen. Greenway Gate. The entire greenway is locked down, shrouded in a dark cloud of shifting currents. What is happening here? Greenway cipher. Okay. You find your way onto a well-kept pathway between encampments, where carefully planted groves provide fungus and vegetables. A key. Collect spores. While the grove mushrooms are dangerously inconsistent, spores provide a chance to gather or study these species in an untouched form. Forage for fungus. The fungus that grow in the deep groves of the Greenway are typically avoided, but those with sharp eyes might find useful fruiting bodies. Okay. Clear overgrowth. On the corporate garden for impressing guests with gene-tweaked birds. Now this chamber is a mess of overgrowth. You can change that. Cultivated choking vines stop the rot, and this place could be turned back into a garden of sorts. Steal the harvest. Ooh. Energy, kostenlose energy. There's loads of food here. Why should these farmers keep it to themselves? If you can do it quick, they might not even notice it's gone. Leave. If you get caught stealing, there's no way you'll be able to work in the stacks. It's as simple as that. And work the stacks. Some farm stacks from the old station have survived, and the farmers that work them are always looking for new workers. They pay by yield. Barter for food. A farming collective who control the stacks don't like to sell their food piecemeal, but for the right price they'll let it go. Okay. Ja. Machen wir mal Pause. Ey, gute Würfel. Dass ich endlich mal auch bei dem in der Cloud. Ups. Keine Ahnung warum. Was ich mache hier. Was wollte ich sagen? Gute Würfel, dass ich in der Cloud ein bisschen weitermachen kann.